Hey guys, and welcome to our first video on this channel. Are you tired of it taking hours to solve those newspaper sudokus? Worry no more. I've got the solution to your problem. Today we are going to be coding a Python program to solve every sudoku in the world. Let's get started. Before we dive in deeper, let's first take a look at the finished result. We can grab a sudoku quiz from the web for the program to solve. Then we can transfer our sudoku to the script and our program returns a solved board. But how do we solve it? So we start at the first cell of our sudoku grid and check whether it's empty or not. In this case it isn't. Then we move on and repeat that process until we find an empty cell, like this one. Then we check what's the lowest possible number we can find that fits in the cell. In this case it's 1, as it's neither in the row, nor the column, or square. Then onto the next empty cell, we repeat that same process. This time it is a 2, as we already have a 1 in the previous cell. For the next cell the lowest possible number would be a 4. Now we only have the number 6, 8 and 9 left. In this cell we would put in an 8, as 6 is already in the same square and the next cell would be a 9. But now we have a problem. The only number left in the row is a 6, but we already have that number in the square. This is where backtracking comes in handy. What we do now is go to the previous step and erase the 9. As 9 is already the highest number, we need to go back a step again. If we now put in a 9 instead of an 8, we would still have the same problem as before, because 6 and 8 don't fit into either of the two cells left. So we go back a step again and continue with changing the cell with the value 4. The next lowest possible number that we can fit in here is 6. When we do that, we can just continue adding numbers. And just like that, we have found values that work for the first row. What the program does now is repeat the same process and backtrack when necessary, until it all works out. So now let's check out the code. If you want to have a closer look at the code, I will have a link to my GitHub page down below. So the first thing the method needs to do is to find an empty position. This is done by another method called returnEmptyPosition, which returns the row and the column as a tuple. If there's no empty spot left, it will return true. That means we have found the solution to our sudoku, as there is no cell left that still needs to be filled. But if there are still cells left that don't have any value inside of them, it will define two variables, called row and column, from the position. The next thing it does is iterate from 1 to 9. When it finds a number between 1 and 9 that is valid for the given position, it will write it into the grid. Then it calls itself to check if it can still find further possible numbers in order to solve the board. This behavior is called recursion and being used to write efficient code that doesn't take up a lot of space. If the method doesn't find a valid number for a position, it will backtrack the changes and set their values to 0 and the original position to the next lowest possible number. This will be repeated until there are no empty cells left.